Good morning, everybody. I ask you to remain standing for the prayer of convocation that will be led by the Reverend Dr. Terry Hidachuk, our acting dean of the Faculty of Theology, and the blessing that will be given by Elder Lavinia Brown. Could I ask both the elder and Terry Hidachuk to come forward, please?
Ublakun, Koyanaming. Thank you. And thank you for the offering from the University of Winnipeg. This morning, I feel very special to be honored to say that blessing. Just for a few minutes, I have something to share with you. People often say there's always something first that you ever do in life. For me, the first thing that I have today on is this gown. Never had one before. When I was asked if I wanted to wear a gown, very, very secretly in my mind said, absolutely. And I'm so honored to stand here in front of you. And particularly the graduates and all the ingredients that we bring together here today from the University of Winnipeg, I see like a flower grooming, so pretty. All different colors, the flowers come to us in life, and that's how I see you. So I thank the University of Manitoba very much, and everybody that organized this morning. This morning, I'm going to say the blessing and ask the Creator, God, to bless each and every one of us in this building. And if you want to, you say it along with me in your own way of praying. So I will begin my prayer now, and thank you for standing. Nunaleokte koyan naming. Koyan naming ang iyumin, ublume kay titaw gapta, ublume katin napta. Nunaleokte, igvin ang iyu gavin, igvin piu iyu gavin, igvin nagling niu gavin. Tako kulilin ni awaniktun, amalusan ay tamaming, tasiulaukin, sangin ang metunisimalaukin, inukote titako at agvanit tuluktaan, University of Winnipeg me, piliriyin, tamang metsyang, tauduktak ka piu yun. Igvin, piutitaktin, aksualong, nagligayak ka. Ilakalo, katimangitak ka, tuksiutivavon. Aksawak tutay ko, kitutuinain, aksawak pagkapta. Nunaleokte, koyan na miyoktuang, ang iyumin, umatitaw gapta, amma, ublang, tupaktitaw siya kaumigapta, makititaw bluta. Koyan na ang iyumin. Thank you, Creator.
God of many names and stories, God who is called Creator, Great Spirit, Allah, Elohim, Lord. God of many names and understandings, we gather before you from places of challenge and change to this place of celebration and hope. We thank you for this university, its leadership, professors and staff and students, gifted with wisdom, discernment, knowledge, and determination. We thank you for those receiving degrees and honors this morning. Their gifts of hard work, patience, and imagination have brought them to this place. May they continue to be lights of hope and wisdom and creativity in your world. We thank you for parents and relations and friends and community who nudged and pushed and supported and sacrificed, and most of all, loved these students graduating this morning. We thank you for the abundance which you have blessed us, the grace given, the compassion that comes to us through others, the knowledge that stimulates our minds and imaginations, and the thirst for justice that motivates us, and the love that nurtures us. God of many names and stories, living, loving God, we ask your blessing on all of us gathered here. Strengthen us to continue to serve your creation. Amen.
I want to thank Elder Brown and Dr. Hidachuk for their opening and inspiring words. Please be seated. Mr. Chancellor, platform guests, members of faculty and staff, family and friends, and in particular the graduating class of 2013. I have the honor to declare open this 99th Convocation of the University of Winnipeg for the conferring of degrees in theology and education. We are very honored this morning to be joined by a number of distinguished platform guests, and I want to introduce them to you. I'd ask that each person stand briefly, and as I call his or her name, and request that you hold your applause till we have finished the introductions. Starting with the third row on my right, Mr. Colin Russell, our registrar. Mr. Mike Emsa, the Associate Vice President for Finance and Operations. Dr. Richard Graydon, Fellow of the University of Winnipeg. Mr. Rick Martin, Dean of the Collegiate. Dr. Art Mickey, honorary degree recipient in 1999. Dr. Mohinder Singh Dhillon, who was a HD recipient in 2008. Dr. Glenn Bergeron, Associate Dean of Kinesiology, and Dr. Danny Blair, the Associate Dean of Science and Acting Principal of the Richardson College for the Environment. Mr. Rory McLeod Arnaud, Vice President Advocate for the University of Winnipeg Students Association. Mr. Stefano Hansen, President, University of Winnipeg Alumni Association. In the second row, Mr. Colin Morrison, General Counsel and Corporate Secretary. Ms. Laurel Rebsky, who's the Vice President for Human Resources, Audit and Sustainability. Mr. Sherman Kreiner, Vice President for Student Life and the Managing Director of the University of Winnipeg Renewal Corporation. Dr. Linwood DeLong, the Acting Dean of Library, and Dr. James Curry, Dean of Science. Dr. Glenn Moulaison, Dean of Arts. Dr. Jeremy Reed, Senior Executive Officer, Advisor to the President. Dr. David Fitzpatrick, Dean of Kinesiology. Dr. Sylvia Albert, Dean of Business and Economics. Dr. Gino DeStasio, Associate Vice President, Research and Innovation. And Ms. Erin Stewart, Dean of the Professional Applied and Continuing Education. Mr. Brian Daly, President and CEO of the University of Winnipeg Foundation. In the first row, as you've just met, Elder Lavina Brown. Dr. Mary Warmbrod, Program Director of the Aurora Family Therapy Center. Mr. Kevin Lammer, the Robin H. Farquhar recipient of the Award for Excellence in Self-Governance. Ms. Ajit Kaur Deol, candidate for the Honorary Doctor of Laws. Mr. George Heshka, candidate for Honorary Doctor of Letters. Mr. Robert Silver, Chancellor. Dr. Neil Besner, Provost and Vice President, Academic and International. Dr. John Anchin, Acting Dean of Education. Dr. Terry Hidachuk, Acting Dean of Theology. Dr. Jan Stewart, Acting Associate Dean of Education. And Mr. David Rowland, Dean of Students of Brandon University. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of special guests of the Platform Party, members of the Board of Regents, who are seated in the audience to the left side of the graduates. So please join me in thanking and welcoming all our special guests. Sitting in front of me and acting as marshals for this morning's convocation are members of our faculty. These are the people who make the university what it is and what it will be. They provide the wisdom and generosity and the leadership for our students who are graduating this morning. So I would ask all of you in the hall to join me in acknowledging these very gifted and dedicated people, please. And it's important to recognize there are many people who make a large convocation like this work with the clockwork precision that it always does. We have many members of our staff and administration and alumni who are here to share in the celebration and to offer their services and play an essential role in making this university a very extraordinary place. And I would also ask you again to join me in thanking them for the work and commitment that they have. We are also into cyberspace this morning. We are providing a live webcast of the ceremony for all the family and friends who aren't able to join in person today. I welcome all those who are viewing this ceremony online, and we encourage all those in attendance or watching online to send a special message to the graduates today on Twitter at hashtag UWPG. I caution the students not to do the Twitter in return. It just kind of throws off the rhythm somehow. I know you're used to doing it in classes, but this is one of those mornings we're going to ask you to restrain. This is the time of the convocation where I have an opportunity to say a few words, particularly to the graduates. And it is a special time in the cycle of activities at the university where we take a pause, take a more reflective look at what we do as an institution, and in particular to honor the men and women who are graduating from our academy. We have a historic mission as a university. Our founding goes back over 130 years to the really beginning of the pioneer settlements at the junction of the Red and the Assiniboine. And I think it's indicative just to think for a moment of that historical legacy when our forefathers and foremothers began to believe that to have a community of merit and character, that there had to be a place of higher learning. And through the limited but devoted commitment of resources and time and energy, they built the colleges, and out of the colleges came the university. And now today we occupy, I believe, a central strategic place in the thriving downtown of this city. During that period of time, each graduating class has provided a different offering of their own talents and skills, provided a different sense of what they thought was important for the university. There's been different curriculums, there's been different ambitions and achievements. And so I say to the graduating class that you follow in the footsteps of thousands of men and women like yourselves who have made a commitment to higher education, but have given a special tailoring, a special customizing to what you think is important for you and what you think is important for your family and for the community that you live in. And that's why in celebrating your achievements today, we also celebrate an ongoing pathway where the choices are being made daily about who you are and who we are as a community. You've been part of a vanguard of change that's taking place. The university has doubled its size in the last 10 years. We've added a substantial new graduate program, 2 new faculties. We're awarding twice the number of scholarships and bursaries, which gives us an opportunity to really create a very diverse university It's instructive that in the Maclean's rankings this year of Canadian universities, we were singled out as probably the most diverse campus across the country. And that's not just a cliche, that is a real thing, because that diversity is part of the learning. It's part of how we're redefining this country and our community in terms of who lives here and how we learn to live together. That's been one of the great sort of contributions we've made. We developed a community learning program, as many of you know. Those who are working in the Faculty of Education have taken great leadership in connecting to children throughout the province who have been looking for an open doorway into the pathway of education. And many of you students have been involved in those kind of mentoring programs and going overseas to learn about the way in which we can help educate a world which is desperate for a sense of its own learning. I'd like just to point out one example of how together as a learning community we've made a difference in the lives of a special group of people. Many of you remember back to September 2010 when there was a devastating earthquake in Haiti. Universities in that country were totally destroyed, and the choices and options of their graduates came to a shuddering end. This university took leadership and invited 5 Haitian students to join our ranks, and it's important to acknowledge that this spring, Vanessa Laurent is the final member of those 5 students who is graduating with a bachelor degree in arts as an extension, and will continue their education both here and back in Haiti to help that country regrow and reestablish itself. Couldn't have happened if we didn't work as a community, if we didn't work together. Could never have taken place if we were all simply sort of focusing in our own personal narrow interest. But the fact that we were able to provide a tuition and a residence and a friendship and a comradeship with those students who thought their lives of learning were over, and all of a sudden, as our elder said this morning, there was a flourishing of a new set of flowers in their life that took place. And it's important to acknowledge it this morning. One of the ways in which this convocation helps set that kind of tone, gives that particular significance to what you've been involved in, is we use the opportunity to provide honors and honorary degrees to individuals who have demonstrated in their own lives commitments to going the extra step, to using their talents for the benefit of others. Yesterday we were able to honor Ken Dryden. Many of you know, a well-known hockey player, politician, and now advocate against violence in sports and the support for children in care. Rick Frost was also a recipient. He's the chair of the Winnipeg Foundation, the oldest community foundation, and gave an interesting talk about the importance of philanthropy and volunteerism in our society. How we don't work as a community if we don't sort of make that commitment simply beyond our own narrow interest. This morning, we honor 2 more community leaders who have been in their careers on the front lines of educational reform. And more than just reform in an institutional sense, but reform in helping to redefine what education means in this province and in fact across the country. We'll be conferring an honorary Doctor of Laws on Ajit Kaur Diol. Came to this country from India in 1967 as a committed educator, and understood even that far back how important it was that in this community we find a way of connecting, linking up, collaborating, and cooperating. She was responsible for the creation of the Carolyn McLaurin School, the mentally disabled, where she was principal for 7 years. has served in the Manitoba Human Rights Commission, and across the country has inspired a whole generation of educators to really believe in how we provide a diversity within our unity. For many of you who will be going in the field of education, it's that frontline commitment that really makes the difference. That we can set the stage and lay out the table and provide the tools and even some of the nourishment and nutrition, but it's those of you who are going into our school systems who will provide a very substantial change at a time when we are shifting so much. I don't want to get into a long description, but when you think of the underlying change in the tectonic geology plates of our societies, the advent of digital education, which is providing a revolution in the way we have to learn, the importance of higher education as a way of giving people a much broader dimension to their lives. I mean, we can cite statistics about how graduates of universities make a little bit more money, live a little bit longer, probably take more vacations. But most importantly is that they are able to bring a degree of leadership into the fields that they occupy. We were honored yesterday on campus with the visit of the Governor General, who spent an hour or so meeting with students in the model school and then talking to a range of faculty and students about education for the Aboriginal community. He cited a very interesting statistic. He said that if you compare ourselves, which we often do as Canadians, to the good life, that in the studies done by the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, which represents the 30 most advanced countries in the world, Canada is right at the top tier when it comes to providing educational opportunities for men and women whose parents have had higher education. We're at the very near bottom of the list of those 30 countries in providing opportunity for those who don't have that singular starting advantage. And it's not because of a lack of trying, and I can spend a lot of time here at the platform, which I won't, citing the efforts that are being made in this university to change that equation. But the reality is that there is real disparity, and so the advantages that you become endowed with, that you bring with you as you cross this stage and take out into a real world or into an advancing education world, really sets a notion of responsibility. At that meeting, we talked about how important it was for all of us to take a look first at the mission that was given to us under the University of Winnipeg Act. As I say, we're celebrating next year will be our 100th Convocation. And it wasn't just about imparting skills or getting trade certificates, it was also to provide men and women who have a quality of judgment, who understand the kind of society they're living in, how important it is that you use those talents to provide a new idiom for education and learning. And what is really part of that exercise is to use it in a way that the advantage that you take with you from here, this hall this morning, will be employed in a variety of ways. The same thing is seen by the leadership that we've had through members of our faculty. We've honored several of our former professors, David Cheel and Joel Newvac and Enid Brown, with the rare distinction of being called professors or instructors of emeritus. Dr. Albert Welters from our religious studies program received the Award for Excellence in Research and Scholarship. Kevin Lamro, who is, for many of you, one of the really fine teachers in our Faculty of Education, has received the Robin Farquhar Award for Excellence in Contributing to Self-Government. And Lawrence Broadhurst has received the Clifford Robson Award for Excellence in Teaching. One other small but significant commitment is the new award we have for sustainability excellence on campus. And the award goes this year to the Students Association of Geography and Environmental Studies, who have helped lead this university into becoming, once again, committed to redoing and refitting the world as we have. Many of you remember the old, I think it's a biblical cliche, I can see James Christie about ready to kind of determine if it's accurate, about the story of if you see a hungry man, you don't feed them, you give them the skills to learn how to fish. Well, in the book I just finished reading called The Edge of Innovation, John Seeley Brown, the author, says we have to take that formula one step further because we're beginning to live in a world where there isn't enough fish to go around, and that we have to begin teaching the kind of stewardship that's required to bring fish back, to bring back to health our environment so that we can begin to understand how to create a world that your generation will occupy and your children will occupy that is better than the one we're leaving in. And so, as educators, the definition of your role, I think, is going through some very substantial changes, and we honor you for kind of entering a field, as we have seen through the examples before us, of what is probably the most important investment that any community can make, and that is in the development of the minds and spirits of each generation as it goes forward. Business Council of Manitoba, which met just 3 weeks ago, all the senior business leaders and advisors and political governmental people came to one conclusion, that if we're going to prosper as a community, we do it through education, and we have to make that commitment to make it happen. And you're the ones that will be out there delivering the tools. So thank you very much for that commitment. But I also recognize that it isn't always easy. This is a world which austere financial problems have shortened our economic growth and our employment opportunities. It isn't the same as it used to be. You have to work a little harder at it, and to assist you, support you in that effort. We've announced this week the beginning of what we call a GO strategy. We will be bringing a special unit into our student services program of graduates from this class who will be given the responsibility of helping to mentor, to contact employers, to set up workshops, to provide sort of basic job training skills, to work in the fields that you want to provide an opportunity. It will be established up on the 4th floor. There will be, I think, notices in your graduation kits. Take advantage of this, because I think it is something that we feel a responsibility as a university to give you that sense of where and how you can enter a field of education, not just in downtown Winnipeg, but throughout the entire province and country. And as many of you have learned from your own overseas commitments around the world. So to close, I'd like to draw just a moment of inspiration from an author who's very difficult to read, but once you get into it, makes a lot of sense. Ronald Dworkin was a distinguished philosopher and legal scholar who at the age of 80 wrote his magnum opus called Justice to Hedgehogs. To live well, Dworkin writes, is to live one's life as if it were a work of art. A life should be an achievement in itself with its own value in the art in living it displays. So as you cross the stage today, receive your certificates, celebrate with family and friends. Remember that you are in an act of creation and learning, and we really wish you well in what will be a very exciting pathway in the future. Thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to call upon our Chancellor, Mr. Robert Silver, to confer special honors on Ms. Ajit Kaur Diol. She will be introduced by Dr. John Anshin, the Acting Dean of Education. Would Ms. Diol and Dr. Anshin please come forward?
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present Ajit Kaur Diol as recipient for an honorary Doctor of Laws. Ms. Diol came to Canada from India in 1967. Since then, she has committed herself to issues in education, social services, and multiculturalism throughout her career. Leading by example, Diol believes that every individual has the responsibility to contribute and become a catalyst for positive change in society. She's a retired teacher and principal who is also a strong advocate for education and has worked tirelessly to improve the lives of her students, especially the marginalized and disenfranchised, through better policies and governance. As the principal of Carlin McMorland School for the Mentally Challenged in Marathon, Ontario, in the early 70s, she developed the school, which was initially located in a church basement. Beginning with a 5-student school, she expanded it to 24 over a span of 6 years, eventually integrating her pupils into regular classes at Marathon High School and other venues. This integration allowed her students to take part in all elements of everyday life, thereby improving the quality of their educational experience. Her Marathon High School integration program became a template for other Ontario schools. Ms. Diol is a model Canadian citizen and a pillar of support for her Indo-Canadian community. She has facilitated intercultural understanding from the local to provincial levels. She has served on boards of numerous organizations, including the Manitoba Human Rights Commission, the Canadian Multiculturalism Council, Winnipeg Boys and Girls Clubs, and the East Indian Support and Advocacy Group promoting intercultural tolerance and understanding. Ms. Diol has earned several awards and distinctions, including the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Pin, Queen's Golden Jubilee Medal, the Distinguished Community Service Award, National Indo-Canadian Council Manitoba Chapter, and is an officer of the Order of Manitoba. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate, I request that you admit Ajit Kaur Diol to the degree of Honorary Doctor of Laws for her notable commitment to creating a more inclusive community that transcends ethnicity and includes the marginalized and disenfranchised.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of the University of Winnipeg, I admit you, Ajit Kaur Diol, to the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris, with all the rights and privileges thereto pertaining.
To be a little lower. Good morning, Mr. Chancellor, Dr. President, honored guests, family, friends, and the graduating class of 2013. Let me begin by congratulating Dr. Lloyd Axworthy, who received a doctorate of philosophy from Polytechnic University in Kyiv, Ukraine on April the 24th, 2013. It is a distinct honor to me to be here today with all of you, because this is most certainly a very auspicious day in your lives. You probably feel that you have arrived, that this is the end of a journey. You have studied all through grade school, high school, university, and here you are. I would say to you that this is not the end of your journey. And it is not a beginning. Rather, you are in the middle of the great adventure of life. You are in the luxurious position of taking all that you have learned and all that you have achieved so far and doing something with it. I stand here before you, an Indian-born woman in her 80s, and I can tell you that my journey is still remarkably taking shape. In this day and age, India is a progressive powerhouse to be reckoned with. When I wanted a higher education, it was systematically sexist and in some ways misogynistic. I was fortunate to have a father who encouraged my dreams and allowed me the freedom to attend university and complete BA, B.Ed, and MA. In those days, these degrees would lead definitely to an MRS degree, Mrs. I decided to work and taught in a prestigious high school in Patiala, India. This began my life of long affair love with teaching and education. Eventually, I did get married to a fellow teacher, had 3 daughters. I then did the unthinkable in India and continued to work after having a family, teaching in another renowned boys' high school in Pune. We, like many others, and maybe some of you, decided to make a big change and live a comfortable life in our motherland and take a chance on pursuing a new dream in Canada. Arriving in late 60s, we were fortunate to get teaching jobs in Marathon and Ontario. But like many immigrants, we had to make a sacrifice of upgrading our degrees to meet Canadian requirements. So in the summer holidays, I packed up my 3 kids, rented an apartment on Spadina Avenue in Toronto, and took my BA honors, which they told me to take half a course only, and MA, which they told me to take only 1 course from the University of Toronto. My husband attended Queen's, and we saw each other on weekends. Well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Even though these events occurred 40 years ago, some of these themes prevail. You all will still strive to find balance between work and family. We live in an economically challenging times. Some of you will struggle to find gainful employment in the field in which you have studied. And the rapidly changing economy will require you to be adaptable, resilient, and fluid in your approach. Like you, I was ambitious and a little intelligent, and therefore, I was a teacher and a principal in India and Canada. I was a mother, a wife. When we bought a grain and dairy farm in Beausejour, Manitoba in 1975, I was a farmer. As I continued teaching in Edward Schroyer School, I was a widow in my 50s. I ran for public office in the 90s, unsuccessfully, but it made for an interesting ride. I have been adaptable, resilient, and fluid. The common thread is that I always embraced change. that I took risks and I followed my instincts. Most of the time, I was lucky and met with success. When I failed, it was still a risk worth taking because the experience became part of my education. My faith and conviction, as well as the encouragement and support of my community in Manitoba, helped me to live a meaningful and impactful life. Having said that, a community is judged by the status quo of all its members. I have spoken with you about the paid work that I have done throughout my life. Now I want to address the work that is unpaid, yet priceless. That is the work that has had an incredible effect on my life. I have been a lifelong volunteer in many capacities, from the Lions Club in Marathon to the Manitoba Human Rights Commission. I'm not going to give you the list of all that organizations that I work on, but I am very happy that I did what I could do, because I believe that we have a duty to serve and to make a contribution to society. It's not enough to make your own way, find success, and live in an ivory tower. As an Indian woman, as an immigrant, as an average middle-class Canadian, I know the changes I think we need to make in our society. The only way to implement change is to get involved and to be a catalyst for change, one person at a time. Some say that young people, those are coming from these great halls of education, and tend to be uncompromising and full of ideas. I say, as you continue your journey, remember this time, this moment, when you are, where you are, who you are right now. Remember what makes you feel angry, what you think is unjust. Remember what you think needs to change. As you find your way in your career, graduating from halls of learning to the halls of power, remember these burning emotions and start the fire that will create a transformation and generate progress of society. Whatever else life is, it's not always comfortable. And I urge you to continue your journey and be as authentic to your experience as possible. Be brave as you realize that there is still a long way to go. Be uncompromising and don't settle for good enough. And whatever you do, don't get comfortable. Discomfort leads to adjustment and evolution. Discomfort makes you do the right thing. I want to thank my family, those in Winnipeg, and those who have traveled from England and from across the United States and Canada to be here. I want to dedicate this degree to my father. You know, many years ago, my father asked me, his only daughter of 5 children, Ajit, why do you want to go to Canada? My answer, Bapuji, I want to do my PhD there. Waited 40 years. I have told you the story. It's been many years. And life got in the way. But Bapuji, in the most unexpected, warm, and wonderful way, I am getting my PhD. thank you. And the class of 2013, congratulations. 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 And God bless you all. Thank you.
I want to thank Dr. Dill for her very inspiring words and a testimony to lifelong learning. Thank you very much for joining our family. I now want to call on the Chancellor again to provide special honors to Mr. George Heshko, the longtime principal of Sisler High School. I have to admit to a certain special interest. I'm a graduate of Sisler High School. I graduated, yeah, let's hear it for Sisler, come on. I'd have to say I graduated before George became the principal and took it to be probably the outstanding high school across Canada. I would just share with you just one defining moment I had, however, to show how important it is as teachers that you get the words right. But in my grade 12 English class, I was having a certain debate with the teacher at the time over the meaning of a poem, a Fra Lippi, and I probably pushed her to a little frustration, and she said, I predict that one of these days you're going to end up in a federal institution. Now you have to understand that at that time Sisler was, all you could see was bald prairie to the northwest, and there was a federal institution about 20 miles north that has a fairly large and sometimes unfortunately growing population. So about 15 or so years later, when I was running for Parliament, I went into the Poseidon home, and as the elevator came down, this particular teacher rolled out. She took one look at me, she said, "Wrong institution." So that's kind of always stuck with me about my defining moment at Sisler High School. George, it's a great pleasure, and I would ask Dr. Jan Stewart, the Acting Associate Dean of Education, to come forward and ask the Chancellor to bequest the honorary degree. Dr.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present Mr. George Heshka as recipient for an honorary Doctor of Letters. Since 1980, George Heshka has been the principal of Manitoba's largest high school, Sisler High School. Sisler is also known as a mini United Nations and cited as one of Canada's most multicultural schools. Mr. Heshka's work and commitment has spanned over 3 decades and has greatly contributed to the pride and legacy of Sisler High School, which is renowned for providing quality education to generations of leaders. George Heshka is known as a visionary leader in the heart of Winnipeg's North End. His progressive ideas have transformed Sisler to an innovative institute with award-winning programs in career exploration, youth entrepreneurship, women in trades, robotics, and self-directed learning. An example of this vision is a partnership between the University of Winnipeg and Sisler that allows Sisler students to receive university credits while in high school, enabling a head start on post-secondary education and making it more accessible. In 2011, Sisler became one of 63 schools recognized by Microsoft as a Pathfinder school. The Innovative Schools program helps school leaders embrace innovation and implement technology effectively to support teaching and learning. This accomplishment allowed Sisler to send a group of students to Washington, D.C. to showcase Sisler's innovative teaching practices around the world. Mr. Heshka's efforts have solidified Sisler's academic foundation. Sisler is ranked one of Canada's 10 best schools and the best all-around high school by Maclean's magazine. Mr. Heshka's students describe him as an awesome principal who is caring and helpful. He is highly respected by his peers and was nominated as the greatest Manitoban in a campaign led by the Winnipeg Free Press. For his brilliance, passion for excellence, and a love and respect for his students that has transcended generations. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate, I request that you admit George Heshka to the degree of Honorary Doctor of Letters for his dedication and commitment to his students and his community.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of the University of Winnipeg, I admit you, George Heshka, to the degrees of Doctor of Law honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges thereto pertaining.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, honored guests, family, friends, and graduates of the Faculties of Education and Theology. It is certainly a signal event for me to have had conferred upon me an honorary Doctor of Letters, and I wish to express my sincerest appreciation to President Axworthy and the University of Winnipeg for the honor. It is also an honor to have been invited to address the graduating class of 2013 in both faculties. It has been a number of decades since I was in the same position as you are in today. I hope to pass on to you, in a somewhat encapsulated form, the perspectives acquired through experiences covering a span of some 50 years. And that is this: the one overriding tenet that governs the relationships in the various fields of endeavor, whether it be education or theology, is that of service. Indeed, one should regard one's life's work in these fields of endeavor not as a job, not as a career, but as a calling. This has been a motivating force in my life and in my work as an educator. You will enter a world, an exciting world of possibilities, of new horizons, where by some mysterious alchemy lives are transformed. And I can say that as an educator, there is no more heartening sight than to see young people on graduation day. If only it were so for all young people. If only it were so for the poor, for the physically, cognitively, and emotionally challenged. If only it were so. As teachers, for instance, you will be called upon to nurse the souls of the young. As teachers, you will be the narrators of the future, for you will hold in your hands the destiny of generations present and yet unborn. In the beginning, to use a familiar phrase, I did not know where life would lead me. I was, quite frankly, from the ghetto. Again, in the beginning, I could not speak a word of English. So what happened? I failed grade 1. I'm the only person I know of all the people I've ever met who failed grade 1. Quite an accomplishment. I was at that time completely alienated. I hated school. Doesn't make sense standing up here right now, I know. Reminds me of a conversation that I overheard in the hallway of Sister High School just the other day. Some caretakers are out there, they're cleaning and they're talking about their educational attainments. And they say, well, look, I got grade 6, I got grade 10 and whatever. So I strolled over there and I said, that's nothing. I failed grade 1. I gave them hope. I remember my first day at Argyle School. That's, well, it's the old building has since been torn down, replaced by a one-story structure. You can see it as you turn off Main Street towards the Disraeli Bridge Thruway, leading over the Red River and over into Elmwood. That was my school. It was with some difficulty that my mother and the teacher convinced me to occupy my desk, or the desk that was allotted to me. When the bell rang to start classes, having noticed that my mother had left, and faced with strangers talking in incomprehensible gibberish, I bolted out the door. You know, mothers are crafty. She was standing there waiting for me to do precisely that. I was not too gently returned to the waiting arms of my teacher. Realizing that further resistance was useless, I surrendered unconditionally. This was to serve as a preview of my years in elementary school. It was a rocky road, believe me. In retrospect, I think I was just going nowhere fast. And then finally, in grade 6, I had the good fortune to encounter teacher Barbara McCord. Barbara McCord was a boilerplate, tough Irish woman who took no prisoners. And the only way to escape her iron discipline was to access the small library she had craftily placed in a corner of her classroom, or else be consigned to some task that was the very embodiment of drudgery. That did it for me. I was hooked. I got hooked on books. They opened up a whole new world for me, of vistas I never dreamed of, for there were no books or any printed matter in my home. There just wasn't any money for that. That lady's strategy proved very effective. I'm sure, though, that she still must have harbored some misgivings about where I was heading in life when I went on to Norquay Junior High. And talking about harboring misgivings on the part of a teacher, Dr. Axworthy, you struck a resonant chord with me when you said that about your experience. Unfortunately, I never got to thank her, for she died before I fully understood her impact upon my life, and that she had in fact patterned the contours of my subsequent years. This vignette speaks to the power of schools. Schools in their totality are the black box that forms the core of our society. They are the embodiment of the mystical power of hope, and you as teachers are the high priests of that hope, if I may speak in ecclesiastical terms. You are also, if I may revert to secular terminology, agents of social change. And now your degree in either education or theology can lead you into a number of different career paths. But remember that whatever the job is, whatever job you end up in, it is a calling, and it is a calling to public service. No better example of this serves than that of Sister Geraldine McNamara. There is a school not too far from here that is named in her honor. She started as a teacher, then went into law, and finally took holy orders as a nun and became my comrade in arms in the struggle for justice for inner-city residents. Whether the calling manifests itself in environmentalism, in all the forms that this can take, from radicalism to more sedate forms of expression, to feeding hungry children, to fighting against vested interests for the preservation of inner-city neighborhoods, to forging new frontiers through the use of technology, and, dare I say it, challenging some of the real clangors that emanate periodically from the Department of Education. Whether you are going into the ministry or into teaching, there is a common denominator, and that is the call to service, to helping one's fellow human beings. And getting a job is just the first step. It is only the beginning. There is still much work to be done. Another common denominator that underlies this call to service, and that is the utter impossibility of knowing the precise results of your efforts, whether years hence the faith and hope you've placed in the young will bear fruit. In teacher Barbara McCord's case, she never knew, and one of my regrets is that I never got to her in time to tell her that boilerplate is tough, and boilerplate tough is good, and in my case changed my life. And so, my young friends, as you continue your journey through life, I'm sure you will, as I have, encounter a few speed bumps. Take them in stride. Never flinch, never weary, and above all, place your faith in hope. After all, Martin Luther did. When asked what he would do if he knew that the world would end on the following day, he simply said, "I would plant a tree." Thanks for listening.
Again, congratulations to Dr. George Heshka, and I think you'd agree with me, it's rewarding to see two pioneers of field of education who have been able to condense their feelings basically to that some very simple beliefs in service and hope and commitment. So thank you both, and would you join me again in thanking our two honorary doctors? Before we get to that magic moment, I do just want to take a few minutes to bring forward some of the members of faculty and staff and students who have achieved this special recognition, and just ask them to stand and be recognized. Beginning with Kevin Lamoureux, who is a member of the Faculty of Education, received the Farquhar Award. Kevin? And I believe Lawrence Broadhurst is here. Is Lawrence here? Perhaps not. Two convocations yesterday probably just tired him right out. That's a lot of work to do. And to ask if Dr. Novak and Cheel and Nina Brown are here, we will sort of, again, provide them with the full acknowledgement of their commitments. So with that, we've now come to the part of the program that you members of the class have been waiting for, and I think there's probably a few people in the audience who have been anticipating as well. Our registrar, Colin Russell, will present the graduates. Our chancellor, Mr. Robert Silver, will confer the degrees. The parchments will be handed by the graduates in theology by the acting dean, Terry Hitchcock, and Dr. John Anshin, and the Associate Dean of Education, Jan Stewart, will provide the degrees to the members of the Faculty of Education. Each graduate will also be presented with a University of Winnipeg alumni pin by our President of the Alumni Association, Reverend Stefan Johansson, and by the Vice President Advocate of the Students Association, Rory John McLeod Arnold. So this is your moment and your rite of passage. It is a time to celebrate for friends and family. So I invite everybody to express in whatever way you think is appropriate, or for any particular graduate. As they cross the platform, let's hear it for the men and women of the class of 2013. Mr. Russell and Mr. Silver, please.
Would the graduates from the class of 2013 please rise as their degree is called and remain standing while the other degrees are announced. Master of Sacred Theology. Master of Divinity. Master of Arts in Theology. Bachelor of Theology, Master of Marriage and Family Therapy, Post-Baccalaureate Diploma in Education, Bachelor of Education. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate, I request you to confer upon these candidates and upon those receiving their degrees in absentia the degree for which they have qualified.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of the University of Winnipeg, I admit those present and those receiving degrees in absentia to the degrees for which the prescribed studies have been completed, with all the rights and privileges thereto pertaining.
Congratulations, you are now graduates of the University of Winnipeg. Please shift your cap tassels to the left. Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Chancellor, I beg leave to present the graduates from the class of 2013 for congratulations. All right. The graduates of the Master of Sacred Theology, Susan Foley Curry. Marian Bentina Magnuson. Graduating with the Master of Divinity degree, Kenneth James Austin. Receiving the Tate and Anderson Prize, Christine Salstrom. Receiving the Master of Arts degree in Theology and the Graduate Student of Highest Distinction Award and the Gothrop Prize, Brenda Suderman. Carol Heather Boyko. Barbara Joan Fugelsang. Receiving the Nisbet Memorial and Winchester Prize, Elizabeth Ann Burton Sawatsky. Graduates of the Bachelor of Theology degree, Jennifer Lynn Dresser. And now the graduates of the Master of Marriage and Family Therapy degree, Rukundo Africa. Eric John Bailey. And now the graduates of the Post-Baccalaureate Diploma in Education, Ritu Kalsi. Dalip Singh Shekhawat. Chantel Marie Cotton. And now the graduates of the Bachelor of Education degree, receiving the University Gold Medal and Chancellor's Gold Medal for the highest standing in education, Matthew Damian Paschuk. Krista Danielle Reimer. Receiving the Lieutenant Governor's Gold Medal for the highest standing in arts, general course, and the University Gold Medal in Geography, general course, and the Bill Gadsby Pre-Service Teaching Award, Megan Lee Dooley. Michelle Kathleen Adolph. Rebecca Lynn Anderlich. Jennifer Anderson. Joyce Isabel Aquino. Mojgan Asili. Amandeep Anu Badan. Judith Marie Berg. Megan Kathleen Bales. Caitlin Marie Bartiz. Brandy Nicole Beaton. Christy Benoit. Diana Casas Bernardo. Sarah Bisson. Santana Blanchette. Megan Kathleen Bonin. Marley Ray Bragg. Amanda Nicole Bruno Schroeder. Curtis James Burbella. Rochelle Ann Cabaggio. Rianne Cairns. Christina Paula Capello. Lindsay Michelle Chekvala. Brittany Ann Joyce Chanda. Annelise Chatelain-Perrault. Anna Choi. Linda Maxine Clark Johnson. Tay Code. Carissa Joy Coppiness. Jess Louise Corey. Sean Jameson Cruikshank. Megan Jennifer Semaras. Sarah Chischin. Kayla Nicole Daniluk. Colin Patrick Dean. Devin DeGagne. Melissa Clarice Denoon. Receiving the Lost Prizes Award, Jeremy Russell Derouard. Brian Michael Desotel. Andrea Therese Marie Dombeck. Danielle Margaret Catherine Dewick. Karen Hill Durson. Wesley Charles Eaton. Lucas Jacob Enns. Sean Patrick Esselmont. Melissa Christine Falk. Brittany Lee Fedorchuk. Amanda Marie Feenstra. Rochelle Carol Ferris. Kirby Foyer. Jacqueline Sarah Jane Fogg. Rachel Friesen. Jason William Garton. Mikhail Girillo. Lauren Anel Jeezy. Brandy D. Ginter. Susan Ann Girard. Susana Vieira Gomez. Eric Jordan Goodridge. Monica Goyal. Jane Elizabeth Emily Graham. Christy Melanie Hallischuk. Mandy Ray Hallow. Carrie Ann Hanstead. Amanda Darlene Harris. Kelly Elizabeth Heinz. Brittany Henry. Lisa Hildebrand. Mackenzie Jane Hill. Melissa Jane Orr. Ashley Megan Hoytink. Terrence Horman. Sean Robert Hops. Megan Elizabeth Hudson. Kayla Marie Huff. Gabriel Hurley. Samuela Eisenschmidt-Reiner. Andrea Judith Israelowicz. Timon Ray Jack. Akanksha Jain. Peter Anthony Yantz. Philip Jansen. Richard Jensen. Carly Eleanor Johnson. Jennifer Lee Johnson. Kyle Peter Joranson. Rana Jodan. Brady Murray Cabez. Jeffrey Thomas Kasprick. Kevin Frank Kaler. Susan Ann Marie Keller. Clarissa Kelly. Jody Eileen Klaus. Alexa Seri Klein. Alana Marie Colomea. Patricia Komodowski. The winner of the University Gold Medal in Mathematics General Course in memory of Dean O.T. Anderson, Amara Lynn Coop. Rihanna Corade. Sean Kozarchuk. Jody Kulik. Shona Maureen Kuzik. Summer Lee Ashley Kuzik. Megan Ann Labrie. Michelle Land. Brittany Joanna Lasco. Giuseppe Michael Lewicki. Rebecca Lubig. Haley Marlana Luff. Linnea Desiree Ann Luna. Stephanie Ann Marie Luna. Jonathan Grange Lund. Danny Lee. Kayla Ann McKay. Morgan Ellen McLennan. Janelle Christine Malik. Rebecca Mandrick. Mignon Armel Marcaida. Ronan Mariano. Lauren Jane Marque. Brittany Elizabeth McAdam. Kristen Carla McCutcheon. Dana McFarlane. Dana Lauren McMurray. Talia Madalena Medwick. Leanne Marie Menard. Alyssa Maisman. Jasmine Mignon. Jenna Victoria Miller. Tyson Jared Monk. Samantha Doreen Jean Movena. Sarah Ellen Murray. Leanna Marlene Namaka. Gabriella Neufeld. Janessa Helen Neufeld. Jessica Nitchie. Loa Joran Olofsson. Andrea Helen Olmsted. The recipient of the University Silver Medal for the second highest standing in education and the Lost Prizes Scholarship, Amber Outen. Melanie Peaver. Holly Penman. Raymond George Penner. Tanya Jennifer Pensack. Stephanie Jolene Peters. Lisa Janet Peterson. Paige Caitlin Pooley. Kayla Lynn Pott. Jessie Caitlin Pertula. Sarah Pruden. Samantha Quinn. Kristen Joanne Ron. Joel Luis Almonte Ramos. Amanda Reinisch. Ashley Dawn Renner. Jacqueline Nicole Rivet. Amanda Roberts. Kayla Riley Rogala. Leah Christine Romanchuk. Angelica Claire Ronquillo. Jennifer Rosen. Carly Lauren Rosenberg. Michelle Rosner. Recipient of the University Gold Medal in English General Course in memory of Professor R.N. Halstead and the University Gold Medal in French Studies General Course, Karina Danielle Sham. Fatma Shefchik. Nadia Shefchik. Megan Leslie Schroeder. Mark Semenek. Kirsten Elizabeth Shepard. Samantha Lynn Shula. Carolyn Sigurdsson. Kira Kathleen Sigurdsson. Megan Rose Sigvaldason. Christine Gale Simbulan. Laura Kelsey Simons. Nicole Ann Slaworski. Timothy Russell Smandich. Andrew Charles Smith.
Thank you.
Amber Lynn Solinger. Jonathan Michael Sorakowski. Lindsay Brooke Spicer. Marissa Jennifer Spatula. Brett David Joseph Staska. Kayla Crystal Steidinger. Kirsten Elizabeth Stevenson. Dexter Alvaro Suban. Joan Carolyn Suzuki. Ryan Kenneth Swan. Maribeth Maria Elizabeth Tabanera. Chloe Jane Shore Tate. Kelsey Catherine Pilgrim Terrick. Rachel Nicole Thiessen. Jesse Joseph Tomaszewski. Carly Marie Thompson. Stephen Trachtenberg. Elise Vizina. Stefania Emma Vendramelli. Lindsay Jean Vermette. Samantha Villanueva. Stephen Whitmore. Ryan David Weens. Stephanie Alexandra Wold. Joanne Wright. Jessica Pearl Yakuchuk. Kristen Zaparnik. Jeremy Zorniak. Ladies and gentlemen, the spring 2013 graduating class of Theology and Education.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor, Mr. Russell, and congratulations once again to all the members of the graduating class. I would now like to invite Reverend Stefan Johansson, President of the University of Winnipeg Alumni Association, to welcome the graduates to becoming alumni of the University of Winnipeg. Reverend Johansson.
It is my privilege this afternoon to this morning, it's still morning, it just feels like afternoon, to congratulate each of you on your graduation and welcome you into membership in the University of Winnipeg Alumni Association. You join a growing procession of graduates who have successfully undertaken and completed a rigorous program of studies, recognized by the degrees you have received. In this morning's case, in education and theology, the two most ancient and noble of the vocations, and in marriage and family therapy, as equally ancient and only recently recognized for its value. You can be proud of your accomplishment. On each of my own degree parchments from this university, immediately following the name of the degree itself is the curious expression, with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining. There is the secret alumni handshake and fist bump, which you now know. And there is the alumni pin, which you received, no doubt with great disappointment, having hoped that it would be the personal identification number for a secret savings account that would unlock your future riches. Well, it turns out that that's just about it. The rights and privileges are fewer than you would imagine, but the list does include membership in the University of Winnipeg Alumni Association. Your Alumni Association hopes you will remain connected to the university through its varied activities. Your graduation marks a milestone in your learning. It does not necessitate that you vacate or abandon the institution where your learning took place. So feel free to return often and involve yourselves in whatever activities catch your fancy in these familiar halls and spaces, which I would point out that until recent years, those halls and spaces were named almost exclusively for educators and theologians. Nurture the friendships you developed here and keep them alive throughout your lives. As you go out into the world bearing your new degrees, I hope you will consider the time you spent here at the university to have been not only preparation for life's adventure, but a vital part of the adventure itself. For your studies here have been not merely a means to an end, but an integral part of the richness of your life, which I trust you will look back upon with fondness and appreciation. The philosopher John Dewey said, "The imagination is the medium of appreciation in every field, whatever else you may have learned. I hope you have been inspired to be imaginative in all that you do." So while your alumni colleagues wish you every success and satisfaction in life, we hope that the power of your imagination will bring dignity and honor to this university through lives of vision and purpose, risk and creativity, dedication and service. You leave here as graduates, but the adventure of learning continues, for it is a lifelong affair, and the world awaits your unique gifts and contributions. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much, Reverend Johansson. One of the traditions of our convocation in its last moments is to give the last word to the students. And so I'd like to invite Mr. Matthew Pashak to the platform to give the valedictory address. Matthew, please join us.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, honored guests, family, friends, and fellow graduates of the class of 2013. I'm singularly honored to stand before you all on this day of celebration and reflect on the significance that our collective educational journey holds for each of us. I also count myself incredibly privileged to take this opportunity to extend our sincerest gratitude toward each of those individuals who have supported us along this journey. The knowledgeable and passionate professors and instructors who have challenged us with new and interesting ideas. The indispensable staff members throughout the university without whom we'd have no access to the services we need. Cooperating teachers, advisors, mentors, community members, and for many of us here, even students that we've served over the last few years. Of course, we are also ever indebted to and grateful for our ever supportive family members, loved ones, and dear friends. I think I can safely speak for each of us graduating today when I say that your support was instrumental in bringing us to this momentous occasion, I know that many of you probably have someone or some group in mind. Maybe you've picked them out in the crowds here. So I just want to take the one moment. We've been applauded quite a bit. I think it's only fair that our supporters get that same courtesy. So from the bottom of our hearts, deeply and truly, thank you all. Now, when I was asked to write and deliver this valedictory speech, I have to say that I was taken quite off guard. Perhaps that's the normal response. I'm not really sure, actually. It was after a day of substitute teaching, actually, and the number one concern on my mind at the time was getting the air conditioning working in my car. That was the big thing. Well, as it turns out, that's really not an issue, because once an announcement like this happens, there is nothing, and I stress this, nothing, that sends chills through you quite like that realization of, oh my God, public speaking. Comes in right after the dust sort of settles. So that wasn't an issue. Naturally, to dig myself out of this predicament, like any self-respecting student, I tried to lock down that one resource that would undoubtedly lead me to the perfect speech I sought. It ended up being a resource that was so pervasive and so influential that even the very notion and mention of it fuels some of the most passionate and involved discussion of our time, particularly for those of us in education. That would be social media. Delicate subject. But quite truly, I had a discussion with a long-standing friend some time ago, someone for whom I consider his drive to be nothing short of commendable. It just so happened that this discussion took place through a social network. And I feel as though perhaps at the time the message was a bit lost on me. I was facing a very difficult, very heavy decision at the time, and that sort of became the central theme. But today, particularly on this occasion, I hope that there is something that, like for me, you resonate with when it comes to this message, and I hope that you can take something personal and profound from it. Before I launch into that, I feel as though I should preface this speech a little. I'm very keenly aware that it's the last sort of formal address of the day, and I sympathize. And as a matter of fact, during my last teaching block, I actually had one of the students in my class, or rather all the students in one of the classes, evaluate me, sort of a professional growth opportunity. I asked them for some input on, what I was doing right, or perhaps what I could improve on. It was a great experience. I got some fantastic feedback, good ideas about what I was doing correctly, but one response really sticks out, especially right now. It said, Mr. Pasjak, you're very clear, you've got a great sense of humor, but oh boy, when you choose to do it, you can ramble, buddy. Who am I to disagree with that, right? We're assuming it was well-intentioned. And so my solemn promise to you is that I will make this succinct but hopefully meaningful for you. So the message, simply put, that this friend of mine shared with me those few years ago was ask, want, take, be, and live. Each of us came to this university in pursuit of some goal, a career path, an interest that blossomed into something far more significant. Now, let's be honest, maybe you even came here for bragging rights. There's nothing shameful about that. Maybe for those of us who are a bit of on the glutton for punishment side, maybe you just wanted to keep piling on the schoolwork and never stop. It's all honest and it's all good. Whatever the case, we all asked for something. We asked something of ourselves. We asked something of the university. Don't stop here. Keep asking of yourself and of the world around you, wherever you happen to be. Ask for opportunities. Ask for ideas. Ask how you can bring the accomplishments that brought you here today into practice for the benefit of the community. Be a scholar in the very truest sense of the word. Ask, learn, and grow continually and in whatever you pursue. Those of us in teaching will recognize this is incredibly important. We never want to stagnate. I'm going to venture to say this here. Not only did we come here asking for something, whether it was something personal that we could benefit from or something that we can put into practice later on, but we also had the want to achieve that end, the drive, if you will. This is the point in the speech now where I think it's perfectly acceptable to maybe tilt your head back and look up and think about that one exam or maybe that one course where you definitely weren't feeling the want or the drive. Or heaven help you, maybe it was that one term where you didn't feel the want or the drive. We're university students and it's only natural. At least I'm assuming it's only natural, I hope. In any case, it is your work ethic, your determination, and your want to move forward that have brought you here to this exact moment. Again, hold on to that. As tempting as it is on a day like this to rest on your laurels, don't. Keep the desire to press onward with you. Always have a desire to grow and improve. I hope you don't mind if I shamelessly steal a quotation here, common phrase in education is you don't want to reinvent the wheel, and I feel like up here maybe finding the perfect words is kind of someone else's work in this case. But the quote goes something like this: "A person's life, their future, hinges on each of 1,000 choices. Living is making choices." It really doesn't sound nearly as profound when it's not coming from Patrick Stewart, but I can't do much about that. It's no less true in this case, though. Choose to pursue, whether the opportunity in front of you manifests as a mentorship role, as a teaching position anywhere from the inner city of Winnipeg to northern Manitoba or beyond, whether it's a research opportunity, whether it's some way to stretch yourself that you never even saw coming sitting here. Choose to take it. It presented itself to you for a reason. And when you achieve in that pursuit, whatever it happens to be, take the time like today to celebrate. You've definitely deserved it. Be proud of what you have learned and accomplished over these years, many as they may be. Take the time to consider the fringe benefits of all the work you've put in here, even if you never need to talk about the Krebs cycle again, or Fermat's last theorem, or, heaven help you here, the name of Abraham Maslow's last published book. You no doubt learned a lot about how you learn, what you're passionate about, and what is personally important to you. I know I certainly have. It's probably going to sound a little trite and a little banal, and you're probably going to hear it a lot these days, but be yourself. Largely, you are here to learn who that person is. So go out and be that person. No matter what you pursue, what you need to do to achieve the goals you want, never jeopardize the chance to put yourself completely into your actions, to put your stamp on it, as it were. So I suppose this is approaching the near end of the advice I was given those few years ago. I've spoken of asking, wanting, taking, and being. Make all of this, the work, the journey, the ups, the downs, the hard lessons and commendable achievements both, days like this that you'll never want to forget, nights that you would probably prefer to forget, nights that maybe you didn't choose to forget and did anyway, all of it, every moment, make it all an adventure. If it helps to think of this whole thing like the cliched blockbuster film, make this the optimistic, high-energy conclusion, the thing that you know, you absolutely know, will lead to one sequel after another, hopefully not in the vein of George Lucas, but we can keep our fingers crossed on this. Something that is so optimistic and high energy that you always have your eyes looking for it. In fact, make it like the theatrical trailer for that hotly anticipated sequel. See what's in front of you, know what you want, and be excited for it. Look forward to the new kinds of challenges and the wealth of new directions we each can head in, even if it means we disperse. But don't let that mean that you cannot enjoy a bit of everything and leave room for life. And that is particularly important for those of us going into the profession of teaching. Standing before you all and sharing this moment with you, and that personal message I received, ask, want, take, be, and live, I'm positive that great things for our community are ahead. I've never been so confident of something. I'm privileged to count myself as one of you, a member of the class of 2013, and I congratulate all of us and wish all of us the very best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew, for a very fine representation on behalf of your classmates. I'm going to take a cue from one of the sort of invitations that Matthew put forward, and that is that we, in a broad and collaborative way, should pay some tribute to family and friends who are with us, who have been supporters, who have been part of the journey. So I would like to invite all of you, faculty, staff, graduates of 213, to stand in your chair and look in whichever direction you think is the best one, and thank all of those who have come here to join in our celebration and have been so important in your lives so far. Please join me in thanking our friends. Okay, you can be seated just for a minute or two, and then we'll conclude. But before I do, I want to express thanks to those who have been so important to making this convocation the exercise in learning and commitment that it has. First, our Chief Marshal, Dr. Edward Byard, and the faculty marshals who kept the lines moving and kept us on time. To the Chief Ushers, Lynn Jones and Marilyn Warkentine, members of staff who have volunteered to provide a number of important services. To the organist, Barry Anderson, members of the Winnipeg Police Pipe Band, our sign language interpreters, and again, on behalf of all of us, members of the faculty of the University of Winnipeg, particularly those in education and theology, for placing students first and for embodying a pursuit of excellence to which we are all committed. And I do want to thank our distinguished Chancellor, Mr. Robert Silver, for being such a wonderful supporter of the university and for having come back from a very long trip overseas to preside over these very important ceremonies. And finally, a word of thanks to our graduates for making us proud and to all of our guests for joining us in this marvelous occasion. Following this ceremony, I hope you will join us in honor of the graduates in Riddell Hall for some light refreshments. If the weather is okay, we can also kind of hang out on the Spence Street Mall. The big transformer erector set you see out there is fairly safe at this time of day, but we would like to spend a few minutes with all of you enjoying this special moment. So please join us in Riddell. I would request that after the singing of our national anthem, you remain in your places until the platform party and the academic procession have retired. Would you now all please rise for the national anthem led by our registrar, Mr. Colin Russell.
Love in all thy sons come.